A great day to one and all. I am Dr. Kim J.C. Ensho, and I will be your discussant for Licensure Examination for Teachers Let Review for Mathematics Majors. We will be discussing Set B. I hope you have your paper and pencils with you, and I hope that you go along with us in our discussion. So this time we will be discussing another set of 50 items, and I hope you are set. And let's begin with item number 1. In what quadrants would the point lie if the abscissa and ordinate have opposite signs? Is it 3 and 4, 1 and 3, 2 and 4, or 1 and 4? What do you think? And here, we could actually see that quadrants are named in a counterclockwise direction starting from the upper right corner. Quadrant 1, in fact, has positive, positive. For quadrant 2, the coordinates are negative, positive. For the third quadrant, it's negative, negative. And lastly, for the fourth quadrant, that's plus, minus. Hence, we could actually see that the signs of your abscissa and ordinate are different in quadrants 2 and 4. Hence, the correct answer here is letter C. I hope you have a great start. Let's move on to item number 2. What is the vertex of the parabola y equals x squared plus 4x plus 5? Is it 4, 5, 2, 1, negative 2, 1, or 1, negative 2? There are various means of doing this. You could actually use the vertex formula, or you could simply utilize completing the square. In my case, I will be using completing the square for now. That is, if I have y equals x squared plus 4x plus 5, we could see here that the coefficient of x squared is 1. So we are all set in completing the square. To complete the square here of your x squared plus 4x, you divide the coefficient of 4 by 2. So 4 divided by 2, that's 2. You square it, 2 squared will be 4. Hence, you need to add 4. That's why there is a good reason how come I split 5 into plus 4 plus 1 with the intention of grouping x squared plus 4x plus 4 and later on expressing it as a square of a binomial. Here, you could see that x squared plus 4x plus 4 is x plus 2 quantity squared, but we still have the plus 1 here. And remember, this is now the vertex form of your parabola. And therefore, remember that's y is equal to a times the quantity x minus h quantity squared plus k, where h and k are the coordinates of your vertex. Here, if it's plus 2 here, you reverse the sign, so that's negative 2. And here, just copy outside 1, positive 1. Hence, the vertex of this is at negative 2, 1, and that is letter C. Okay, moving on to item number 3. What is the graph of 2x plus 3 equals y in the real plane? Is it an ellipse, a circle, a hyperbola, and line? And I believe many of you will got this correctly, I hope. This is in fact a line. This is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, where the slope, that is y equals mx plus b, and that here your slope is 2 and your b is 3, which is your y-intercept. Hence, the correct answer is letter D. Okay. Next up, number 4. What equation is equivalent to y squared minus 8y minus 6x plus 4 equals 0? When we say equivalent, these two equations appear different, but they but when simplified or but through algebraic means, they could actually be the same equation. And in this case, we will be utilizing or expressing this equation into another form. But which of these forms is correct? Let's have the following. So I copied here your equation y squared minus 8y minus 6x plus 4 equals 0. And if you could see, my intention here is to isolate all the terms with y, and the rest will be, without y, will be on the right-hand side. So I subtracted both sides with negative 6x plus 4, and the result is y squared minus 8y equals 6x minus 4. My intention here is to complete the square on the left-hand side. So the numerical coefficient of y squared is already 1, so we could proceed with the next step. You divide the coefficient of y by 2, then square it. Negative 8 divided by 2, it's negative 4. Squared will be 16. Hence, I will be adding 16 on the left-hand side. But remember, if we wanted to preserve equality, what expression is added on the left should also be added on the right. That's why plus 16 on the left, plus 16 also on the right-hand side. And now, the left-hand side is a perfect square trinomial, so it could be expressed as a square of your binomial. So to do that, get the square root of the first term, y squared, the square root is y. Square root of 16 is 4, but since the middle here is minus, so it's minus here, then square it. So you have y minus 4 quantity squared. And on the right-hand side, we could combine negative 4 and 16, which is plus 12. Hence, the answer here is y minus 4 quantity squared equals 6x plus 12, and that is letter C. Okay, so far so good. Number 5. Find the equation of the tangent line to y equals 2x squared minus 3x plus 4 at the point 1, 3. Is it x minus y equals 3, x plus y equals 2, x minus y equals 2, or x minus y equals negative 2? And to get the equation of your tangent line, all you have to do first is to get the derivative of your function. But it's important to note that the indicated point here should be really part of your graph, okay? So you could see if you substitute 1 here, 2 times 1 squared minus 3 plus 4, it gives you 3. And that's why 1, 3 is part of this graph, all right? So getting the first derivative of that one, that's y prime equals 4x minus 3. That is utilizing your power rule. Remember, the 2 times 2 will be 4x, and you subtract the exponent of x by 1. That's why you have 4x minus the derivative of 3x, which is 3. So here's your slope now, and your slope has x here. Hence, to get the value of your slope at the point 1, 3, and since this involves x here, which is your slope, which is the abscissa of 1, 3, so you have to substitute x by 1. And the slope at x equals 1 is 4 times 1 minus 3, which is 1. And remember that the slope of that tangent line to a point of the graph is the same as the slope at that particular point. Hence, your slope is 1, and you have now a slope of 1, and it should pass through the point 1, 3. And you need to use the point slope form to find the equation of the line passing through a point given a certain slope. So with such, 1, 3 here, that represents x sub 1 and y sub 1 respectively, and your m is 1. By substitution, that's y minus 3 equals 1 times the quantity x minus 1, and 1 times the quantity x minus 1, it's still x minus 1. And expressing this in standard form gives you x minus y equals negative 2. And the correct answer here is letter D. All right, I hope you got the and the succeeding question, similar, the same given with item number 5. It's just that it's looking now for the normal line. So the same procedure, first procedure, it's you have to get the derivative, but we will skip this. And we knew that the slope at x equals 1 is still 1 because of 4 times 1 minus 3 equals 1. But remember that the slope of the line normal to it is the negative reciprocal of the slope of your tangent line. Why? Why negative reciprocal? Because a tangent line and a normal line are a normal line and a tangent line are perpendicular. And we all knew that the slope of a line perpendicular to the other line is the negative reciprocal of such. And we knew that the negative reciprocal of 1 is negative 1. Hence, the slope of the line normal to y of the line normal to this one, to the given, is negative 1. And we now have a slope of negative 1 and the 0.13. We can now utilize the point slope form, and 1,3 will represent your x sub 1 and y sub 1 still, and negative 1 now will be your m, or slope. For such, by substitution, you have y minus 3 equals negative 1 times the quantity x minus 1. Distributing the negative 1 to the x minus 1, we arrive to y minus 3 equals negative x plus 1. Expressing this now in standard form, we will add x and 3 both sides, and you will get x plus y equals 4. And if your answer is letter A, great job. Number 7. What is the distance between the lines x plus 4y equals 5 and x plus 4y equals 17? Is it A, B, C, or D? What do you think? And if you could see, x plus 4y equals 5 and x plus 4y equals 17 are both in standard form. The left side components are the same and the right hand side components are different, which actually tells us they are parallel lines. And remember, parallel lines have distances. 2 lines have distances if they are parallel. But if they are not parallel in the Cartesian plane, if they are not parallel, then they don't have a distance. And concept check, the distance D between the 2 parallel lines ax plus by equals c sub 1 and ax plus by equals c sub 2 is given by D equals the absolute value of the quantity c sub 2 minus c sub 1 all over the square root of a squared plus b squared. And given here, we could say that A and B, A is 1, B is 1 because it's the same here. Your C sub 1 is 5, your C sub 2 is 17. But if you interchange C sub 1 and C sub 2, that's still the same. Don't worry, that will still give you the correct answer because anyway, we will take their absolute values. So we have here that D equals the absolute value of the quantity 17 minus 5 all over the square root of 1 squared plus 4 squared. The numerator 17 minus 5 is 12, and the denominator is 1 plus 16, which is 17. So it's square root of 17 as your radicand. Multiplying both numerator and denominator by square root of 17 to rationalize it, and getting the absolute value, which is just positive here. So we got D equals 12 square root of 17 over 17. And that's letter D. All right. I hope you are having a great time so far. Number 8. What is the area of the ellipse whose equation is 9x squared plus 16y squared minus 144 equals 0? Is it 7 pi, 12 pi, 18 pi, and 36 pi? It's known that all of these are in terms of units, square units, I mean, because we are talking about area. Now, from here, we could see that we could add both sides by 144 to express it as 9x squared plus 16y equals 144. And since this is an ellipse, actually, we can divide both sides by 144 so that the right-hand side will become 1. So dividing both sides or each term by 144, we have x squared over 16 plus y squared over 9 equals 1. And remember the equation of your ellipse. In this case, the denominator is understood to be your a squared, and the denominator of x squared is your a squared, and the denominator of your y squared is b squared. Hence, we could say that a squared is 16 and b squared is 9. And in fact, the values of a and b here are plus minus 4 and plus minus 3. But I will just take the positive values for now. But if you graph them using GeoGebra, the plus for a squared equals 16, the plus minus 4, it's here. Negative 4, positive 4 here. And your b squared equals 9, it's plus minus 3, so negative 3 here and positive 3 here. And if you connect them with this curve, it's actually, I mean, if you graph it, it's actually an ellipse. And a here is your major axis for here because it's longer. It's here's the like the center, for example. It's like the intersection of these two. So this is 4 units and this is 3 units. And the formula for the area of an ellipse is pi AB or AB pi. And that's why by substitution, that's A equals pi times 4 times 3, or that's 12 pi square units. All right. So that's letter B, and I hope you got it correctly. Number 9. The point 35 is 2 square root of 2 units away from the point 1y. What is the value of y? Is it negative 1, 2, 7, or 9? So we are given 2 points and the distance between them is indicated. And that means we could utilize our distance formula, which is d equals the square root of the quantity, the square of x sub 2 minus x sub 1, plus the square of y sub 2 minus y sub 1. And by substitution now, so the distance between them is 2 square root of 2 and equals 1 minus 3 quantity squared plus y minus 5 quantity squared. To remove our radical, the major radical on the right hand side, we will square both sides. If you square 2 square root of 2, that will be 8. Why 8? Because 2 squared will be 4. Square root of 2 squared will be 2. So 4 times 2 will be 8. Equals 1 minus 3 is negative 2. You square it, that's 4. Plus y minus 5 quantity squared. And this is the one that we have. If you could notice, what others do is they simplify the y minus 5 squared. No problem with that. In my case, I will not simplify it. I will subtract both sides by 4 to isolate the expression with a square. So it becomes, subtracting both sides by 4, you get 4 equals y minus 5 quantity squared. And this time, to remove the square here, we will now take the square root of both sides. But we have to remember how come there's plus minus here. Because if you take the square, remember, if you square a positive 2 or a negative 2, it will be positive 4. Hence, you will take, it should be plus minus square root of 4 here, which is plus minus 2. And that's equal to, when you get the square root of this, you are removing the square root, and the square symbol would actually cancel each other out. That's why y minus 5 will be left on the right-hand side. To isolate y, we will add both sides by 5, and you will get 5 plus minus 2 equals y. The first root is, you will take the positive here. That's y equals 5 plus 2 equals 7. And the second root, you will take the minus symbol in the middle. That's y equals 5 minus 2, or 3. And that is why there are two possible values of y here, namely 7 or 3, but only 7 is one of them, and it's part of our choices. Hence, we will go with letter C. All right. Let's have number 10. What is the equation of the line with x-intercept of 4 and the slope of 3? Is it 3x minus y equals 12, 3x minus y equals 3, 3x plus y equals 12, or x plus 7y equals 3? To answer the question, if you have an x-intercept of 4, this implies that the y component of such is 0. Because if you have an x-intercept, if you plot that in the Cartesian plane, it's understood that since it lies in the x-axis, then its y coordinate should be 0, or the ordinate is 0. That's why this implies that an x-intercept of 4 implies that 4, 0 is a point, and we have the slope 3. So we have a point 4, 0, and 3. We can now utilize again the point slope form. So 4 will be your x sub 1, 0 will be your y sub 1, and your slope is 3, so m is 3. Substitution, we have y minus 0 equals 3 times the quantity x minus 4. Y minus 0 is just y, and distributing the 3 with x minus 4, 3 times x will be 3x, and 3 times negative 4 will be negative 12. So we have y equals 3x minus 12. And adding negative 3x both sides gives you negative 3x plus y equals negative 12. And with the intention of making the coefficient of x positive, we will multiply both sides by negative 1. And hence, we have 3x minus y equals 12. And that is letter A. I hope you got it correctly.